Are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
And we're on. So we're back. We are here for our second recording of the day.
Yeah.
A different movie than Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. We have a little small indie film.
Wow, so different.
So different.
So different.
We go from a 290 million budget movie to a 4.5 million budget movie.
Oh wait, I didn't get to shit on the bored people in the last episode. But this is why, if you're bored, I have no sympathy for you. There is some sort of movie out there for you to see. There is something you would like.
I also think bored
Yep.
people do it to themselves.
Yep.
I don't feel bad for them. Go play some Dungeons and Dragons. Go play some pickleball.
Yeah.
Go take a hike.
Yes.
Get a dog.
See a movie a month. That's not even an expensive commitment. Yeah.
Get a movie pass.
Yeah.
You can watch 12 movies a month.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Anyway, we're talking about Talk to Me, the newest A24 spooky, directed by the twin brother duo of Danny and Michael Philippou.
Philippou. Oh, yes. This was the fucking Greekest day of my life.
Yeah. So before we talk about the movie, Thano, please tell us about the most Greek day you've had in your life.
And here's what's funny. You sent me like the GIF of the FBI open up.
Yes.
Right? Via text, and you're like, oh, this is the director who did Talk to Me. And I'm like, oh, fucking neat. I didn't bother to like look up like who that was. Right?
Uh-huh.
So then I see the movie. I knew it was like, well, I didn't know going into it was Australia. It took me a little because everybody's walking upside down all the time. It's harder to understand what they're saying. so it took me a moment to like realize these were Australian accents.
You couldn't hear them through the spiders.
Yeah, those loud spiders. So then I'm like, like Australia, like I wonder if there will be Greek people in this movie because in Melbourne and maybe other places of Australia, I don't know, but in Melbourne there's like actually a fucking ton of Greek people.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that was just like an afterthought. The movie ends, spoiler alert, with a cutaway to some like Guido-looking motherfuckers. And then I saw that movie and I'm like, wow, these are fucking Greek people. Now there are actually also a lot of Italian people in Australia, but I'm like, these are fucking Greek people. I can smell them. And then they start speaking in Greek, and I was like, hell yeah, brother, Greek people. Yeah. And then the credits roll, and I'm like, oh yeah, fucking Greek people.
Yes.
Anyway, I go over to this new donut place, which I guess is a chain, but like it was not bad. It's called Duck Donuts. I recommend a visit.
Naperville?
Naperville. My name. I give them my name. I go to the bathroom, come out. They're calling my name right away because I ordered a cold brew and a donut. The cold brew was ready. And they're like, Thanos. And then I hear some like Zoomers off in the corner.
So wait, is this a Greek donut place?
No,
a donut place.
It's not a Greek donut place.
Okay.
It is just a donut place.
Yeah. Well, okay, hold on. I have to interrupt.
Yeah.
They sell sandwiches made of donuts.
Yeah, that's too fat for me.
Oh.
That's too fat for me. They're not the first ones to do that.
No, but
like that's too fat for me. Their donuts, I will say, are like cooked fresh. It's like you will get like a nice hot donut, and they're pretty good. They're pretty good. They are small. I will say it's not the most economical visit.
Ooh, anyway.
So I'm there, and like they call my name, and they're like Thanos. I'm like, yeah. So I pick it up. I see it's just a cold brew, so I'm waiting, and then like some boys in the corner, they're like, he's Thanos. Like he's Thanos, and I'm like, oh, okay, like ha, like Marvel, like, and they're like, are you Thanos? I'm like, yeah. And then one of them was like, his name's Thanos. And I'm like,
oh shit.
I'm like, oh, you Greek? He's like, yeah. And he was like, the boy's name was also Thano, was Greek from Greece, from the same area that my family's from. So like we're talking, like blah 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 blah. Then some other lady walks up to us, and she's like, where are you guys from? And I'm like, are you Greek too? And she's like, yeah, I'm Greek. She's also from the same family as my friends is from. She's opening a Lukumadis restaurant in Downers Grove, Illinois, called Luku Madness, which I'm excited to visit. So this was like the fucking Greekest day of my life.
Luku Madness?
It's not. I tried Googling it yet. I can't find it.
Maybe not yet.
Yeah.
But that is a hell of a Greek day.
A hell of a Greek day, and we also saw the worst car in the world.
We saw the worst car, which we can talk about. Yeah. We can talk about a little bit later.
Yes.
before we totally alienate everybody.
Yeah.
So Talk to Me is a like we said, it's an indie horror movie. It's not being made by A24, but it's being distributed by A24.
Yeah. Hey,
Basically,
technically in 2022.
yes.
Yeah.
Basically, what that means is these guys made it through a production company. A24 saw the movie at some festival, and
Yeah.
then there was a bidding war. There was actually discussion whether or not James Wan's Atomic Monster Company was going to be able to buy it,
Ah.
but they were outbid by A24. And also, like, if you get an offer from A24, even if it's not as good as like something from James Wan's company, you want that.
There is something about the A20, just like AMC has its quote unquote artisanal brand.
Yeah.
Like there is, I don't think this is branded as artisanal, but there is something.
It's under Thrills and Chills.
There is something about just having A24 on you that makes you feel like pretentious.
It's that good
I'm
stink.
seeing a film,
A
not a
film.
movie. I'm
A
seeing
movie.
a film.
But yeah, so the movie's a very simple premise. So you have a group of friends. They have a hand. It's an embalmed hand.
Yep.
And if you touch it, you say, "Talk to me." You are able to see ghosts.
Yep.
If you say, "I let you in," the ghost will possess you.
Yeah.
And they
Keep them out.
and they have
Time
a strict rule,
Yeah.
which is if you do it for longer than 90 seconds, you shouldn't, because then the spirits will like latch onto you.
I am very happy that even the spirit world respects the base 10 numbering system.
I mean, it's a good system,
It's a
man.
good system.
It's a fantastic.
It's a great system.
And the fact that Americans refuse to use it.
No. Base 10 is just when like
base 10, yeah.
fives and zeros are important. I think I could be wrong.
Not when it comes to feet.
Not when it comes to feet. But I think the Aztecs had like a not base 10 numbering system. I
Really?
think I could be very wrong.
No, the Mayans did.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
The Mayans for sure did have a base 10 system.
They did have a base 10 because they invented zero. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on. So this is a movie made by like we said, two twins who have their upbringing in the YouTubes.
Yeah.
They run a channel called Rucka Rucka. They do a lot of like spoof videos. Some of their more popular series are like Ronald McDonald's, like kind of going unhinged and just like wrecking shit.
Good for them.
If anybody has seen that very famous FBI open up, like Thano mentioned at the beginning, where you have like the FBI agents like wrecking down the door, then they come out the ceiling and then they come in through like the walls.
Yeah.
It's from them. So like I'm sure most people have seen that.
Yeah.
It's so
ubiquitous.
internet famous that you've seen it, whether you realize it or not. And the movie is actually made with a lot of really unknown people. I think the most well-known person is Miranda Otto.
Yeah.
From what I'm looking at this cast.
Right. And all great unknowns, I will say.
Yeah, I don't think I'm having a really hard time finding any sort of weak link here.
I love Zoe Terekis, who's also Greek in this movie. I guess she was very famous from I guess she was in some fucking Australian show.
So does Zoe go by he now?
They, excuse me, yes.
Oh, we'll go by they?
They or he. Yep.
Okay. I think for the purposes of this movie, I think we could use she, because I think
the character.
I think the character that they are playing is female.
Yeah.
But definitely very like androgynous looking.
Yes.
But the premise of the movie itself is, it's not, I wouldn't say it's original, right? You have a possession. People are messing with this magical item to contact ghosts. I mean, that's any movie with a Ouija board.
Yeah.
I think what makes this movie a little bit different is, and we talked about this yesterday, that even if something is not wholly original, the way you present something, the way you film it, the way you kind of lay down the rules
is what gives it flavor.
It's what gives it that originality, right? And I think this movie kind of has that in spades.
Yeah.
The look of the hand
is great.
It it's set in like a handshake position. So when you go to interact with it, you are shaking the hand.
Here's what's fun about this. From the first trailers, I always like something about this made me think it was like a monkey's paw spin-off.
Oh, interesting.
And it kind of is to the extent as there's like a hand that will give you what you want, but there's drastic caveats, right?
Sure.
It'll let you talk to the dead, but like there's it's much more dangerous than you would seem.
Hmm.
And I think it's fair to say that there's a connection there, but because the hand just like looks so unique and like different and so simple, like that's where some of that originality comes from. It's like
Yeah, and the hand. So they call it an embalmed hand, but it's not. Like it's like you look at the poster and you can see it very clearly in the poster. It looks like porcelain.
yeah,
But in the movie they do say like, well, it is an embalmed hand, but it's been coated with
coated,
ceramic
right?
to
But they
make it more
but
durable.
they're just fucking kids.
Um,
They wouldn't know.
well, that's what they said like was told to them by whoever they
Correct.
gave, but
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
And also like the fact that it works
Yeah.
kind of makes you go, huh, maybe. But what I like the most about the hand is how it's like completely just tagged to shit
Yeah.
with a bunch of different like sayings. I honestly don't know what it all says, but there's different languages on there that you can see. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of it because I think it would be a dope.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll look up too. But it's nice because it makes it feel like more modern,
yeah, it absolutely
right?
more modern. And there's like languages on there that are not necessarily English.
Yeah.
So it makes it look like it's been
It's been through.
through a lot.
Yeah.
And that makes it to me kind of feel more lived in this world, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and it helps that, like we said, like everybody in this and the cast just like sells the absolute shit out of it. I know there's a lot of talk about Sophie Wilde, who plays our lead character of Mia.
Mm.
She does a great job. Don't get me wrong. Like she does have this like vulnerability to her.
Mm.
The movie tells you early on that she like lost family.
Mm.
Or like a couple years ago, she lost her mom, and this is like potentially a way for her to maybe connect to it, but not really her intent. She's just looking for something to help her feel
Yeah.
something, right? Because everybody's like, "Oh, damn, dude, Mia's such a fucking bummer."
Because I forget, like she sees the mom after.
Way after.
Yeah.
She does not see mom until like way after.
Right.
There's a shot in the trailer where she's like looking at a window and she sees a reflection of what she thinks is her mom,
Yes.
right? But that doesn't happen until way later in the movie. But and she does a good job at playing like someone who is going through like grief
Going
very
through the ringer.
slowly, right?
Yeah.
She is not like bing bang boom over it. She is wallowing in it. Um, and she does that very well. She's very sympathetic in the way
Mm.
that she talks to like some of the people and the way they talk to her too. But I think that this opportunity of like using the hand to potentially become possessed is like a way for her to maybe feel something besides constantly being
Ah.
in
As if
pain,
there is an
as if there
artificial substance
as if there is an
that
allegory in this
is
movie.
neither food nor water,
Yeah.
but is
So this movie is very,
yeah.
I would say, like, if anybody asks, what is this movie an allegory for? You either have to be the dumbest person
Yeah.
because this is very clearly
Drugs.
drugs.
And if you can figure it out, it gives you a nice little scene beforehand or a juxtaposition where we have our innocent character Riley, and he's got his like kind of scummy looking friend. You know who his friend is? Do you remember that meme? It wasn't called Scumbag Friend, but it was like the little like kind of chubby kid who was just basically supposed to be a stand-in for like your shitty elementary school friend.
Yeah,
Or like cover
I don't know what it's
who
called, but
like
yeah.
cover your nice controller with Cheeto dust. Like that's who this fucking is. But
Yeah.
he has a zoomer haircut, so like, it's worse.
Yeah.
But that kid's like, oh, like wanna smoke. And Riley's like, no, I'm good. He's like, oh, fucking pussy, no one wants to smoke with me. Right.
Yeah.
So like if you couldn't figure it out later that it's drugs, it gives you that nice little
Yeah, absolutely.
nice little scene beforehand.
And it does kind of make a good argument for itself as to like why this would be like a new drug,
Yeah.
right? Like we've had a lot of movies recently come out where they're like blank is a new blank.
Yeah.
We had last year Crimes of the Future where they're like, ooh, like surgery is a new sex, and like
Yeah. And
people
that
become
was
addicted
and
to
that was, how should I say, fucking stupid.
absolutely. But this to me makes some sense because this is you being inhabited by
Yeah.
something and it's doing something to you
And it feels really good.
and it feels
Yeah.
I mean it's good to some, not to all.
Not to all.
um
But in those first 90 seconds, I think everybody
I think it's a
felt it.
very
Yeah.
like euphoric
Yeah.
sensation of having someone else like inhabit you,
And that
kind of
also
that
that also
connection.
goes well with like just general like demonology. Like, like they want to give you things that like feel good for a short period of
They
time.
want to
Yeah.
entice you, right?
Right.
And so you can definitely buy into the reasoning why these people would
Yeah.
kind of like get drawn into this, get sucked into this. And technically speaking, it's not drugs,
Right.
right? So you have that out.
Yeah.
um, but so other than that, I would say this movie is very effective as far as like its use of like scares and violence.
Hmm.
It's not an overly violent movie. Like I would say as far as like constantly,
Yeah.
right? Like it like Hereditary, like the last 30, 40 minutes of Hereditary are fucking brutal.
Yeah.
This is not that, but it
Even
does use its violence extremely like
even
effectively.
Smile, I would say, is more violent
Yes.
throughout its runtime. Yeah.
Yes. But this I do think that compared to Smile uses it
Better.
more effectively,
Yep.
so it does come across as better.
Yeah.
I would say if you're looking for a good movie to watch this summer, that will probably be out by
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah.
This is going to be on my Halloween movie list this
Watch
year
list. Yeah, as it should be.
for sure. I think it deserves the praise that it's getting.
Yep.
I don't think it's. I think it might be a little like blown up, but I do think it's the fact that where it's coming from that adds to that. That I feel like I don't want to say it's unwarranted because it is very impressive that it's these two guys who have come
Yeah.
up making videos on YouTube, got this opportunity and knocked it out of the park. I do think it deserves the praise it's getting. I do think that if you're hearing like this is the scariest shit ever,
It's not.
maybe temper your
Yeah.
expectations a little bit. Don't let that then detract from like your enjoyment of the movie itself.
Right. And I think most people are aware. Like most of the reviewers that I've seen are out and saying like it's not a fully original concept, but like we said,
Hmm.
the way it's packaged works. I think I initially gave it 3.5 stars on Letterbox. I would want to change that. I would want to give it a 4.
Hmm.
Um, it's not firing for me as on all cylinders as Black Phone was. It's not doing that, and then having something as interesting to say as Hereditary had to say. Right, I think that's what keeps it out of like the 4.5, like 5-star category.
Hmm.
But it is a solid like. I think even Jeremy John said if you told me that like this was a seasoned director who did this movie and not like people's like first go,
It's
I would not be
extremely
surprised.
competently made.
Yeah, it's yes. So the performances are all great. So highly
I
recommend.
like I said, people are talking a lot about Sophie Wilde.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people are sleeping on Joe Bird, who's
Riley.
the Riley, the
Yeah.
boy. What he does in this movie, and we'll talk about it in a couple minutes, like is
Yeah.
genuinely like insane
Yeah.
to me. But that's a big recommend for me. If you have any interest in like a horror movie, I think this is the one that will probably be my favorite horror movie of the year.
Yes.
I'm not seeing anything on the calendar or anything that I've
That
seen
we
so far
saw.
this year that I think would supersede this. And that's considering the fact that I have genuinely enjoyed like other
Yeah.
movies, like Scream for sure.
Maybe Sick would be like the close the
Sick
next
was so
best one
good.
that I saw.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a toughie.
is Megan a horror movie?
I wouldn't count that as a horror
Okay.
movie, but I love Megan.
If Megan were a horror movie, then Megan would be better than this. in my opinion.
because Megan is so
Megan's fucking great.
Megan is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But I do think it's definitely not Boogeyman.
No.
But
I
I
had
you
forgotten
know
about Boogeyman until I was looking at my letterbox today.
I would say if somebody is looking for something, if they could watch one movie, if you say I will watch only one horror movie a year because I'm scared
Yeah.
and but it's Halloween and I need to watch something,
Yes.
this should be the
This
one
should
that
be
you
the one to
watch.
watch. I agree.
So let's go ahead and get into the story. So we have Mia who lives with her friends Riley, Jade, and Sue.
She doesn't live with them.
Huh?
She doesn't live with them.
Yeah, she does.
She lives with her dad. But
One thing, I thought she's been living with them though.
no, she spends a lot of time there.
Oh, well, maybe that's what I take it as. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, because her and her dad are very estranged.
Yes. Which makes, to me, this is where it makes the movie like interesting in terms of its commentary, because like she's connecting with the drug, she's not connecting with talking about her grief like with her
Mhm.
dad, right?
And that also is like, I mean, that to me kind of does make sense with a lot of like men would probably not be equipped to always talk to like their
No, of
daughter
course not.
about like their own grief.
Yeah.
So that does make some sense to me. But anyway, so she is kind of finding solace with them.
Hmm.
Like that's her escape, right? Being with dad kind of just brings back
Yeah.
like all these shitty memories.
Yeah.
There is a scene at the beginning that reminds me of shit with Katie, where she's like washing dishes
Yeah.
and she opens the faucet and then her dad goes, she closes it. She goes, "What?"
Yeah.
And dad's like, "So how you doing?"
Yeah.
She's like, "I'm good."
Yeah.
And it's silence.
Yeah.
And she starts doing dishes again, and dad starts talking. I'm like, Katie does this shit all the time.
Right.
And she's like, "Why can't you hear me?"
For me, it's headphones, which I think is more egregious. And I would forgive someone making the mistake for the sync, but like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But so when as they're kind of just like chilling and talking, they start seeing a trend on TikTok,
yeah,
which is like the be possessed by a devil demon, come hang out. And they do know the person who does it, so they decide to go try it out. Mia volunteers right away, and the scene where they show the first thing, it is unsettling. I do think it's a
yeah,
very super fast, like you almost miss it at first,
yeah,
and you buy her reaction.
yep,
Because before that, in any of the videos that they have shown snippets of, you don't see them reacting to seeing something. You just see them
you
with
see
their
them
eyes
possessed,
blacked out,
yeah,
kind of like convulsing, right?
right,
But I was not aware that you actually saw a ghost because they
yeah,
don't tell you.
right.
And even Haley and what's the guy's name? Uh,
Her boyfriend or who?
Haley's friend. It might be James.
Oh
Because you know
yes,
how Haley has
yeah,
the
yeah, the
friend,
guy.
the black
Yeah, he's
kid.
not on this. He's on anyway. But yes, the friend who ties them down with the belt.
Yes.
Yes,
Um, I think his name is Joss. Now
gotcha.
that I'm looking at it, yeah, Joss. So the cast list is in alphabetical, so it fucks with the thing.
Yeah,
But anyway, um, they don't tell them like anything. They just say like you have to say this, and then you say let me in, and that's
that's
as
it.
far as you are
Yeah,
aware. So that first jump is really good. And you do see that Mia kind of is, I don't want to say like it's harder for her to like let go because they never let go.
mm,
It's they have to take the thing away, but
mm.
she is gripping
Gripping
this
it on.
thing,
Yeah,
so it makes it hard for them to take it off at the 90 seconds.
yeah,
And then the way she plays possessed, I think, is very very creepy as how she's taunting Riley,
yeah.
which sets up like the plot moving forward.
So here I have a question for you, and I don't
Hmm.
think it's on our list. What did you think of like the Mia Riley dynamic?
I mean, it played to me almost like a little brother
Yeah,
situation. I don't know if you read. that differently, because to me it almost feels like, um, you know how sometimes you have someone who may have a sibling, but they're not very close with that sibling,
Right.
but then you're actually closer with the sibling's
Friend.
friend.
Yep.
I felt that's more what it was.
So there, yes, by and large, the I during especially the beginning, there's like I wondered if there was like something maybe not going on, but there was like something below the surface that was like
I,
bubbling or being tempered down.
I think maybe at best, I think maybe Riley has a crush
Has a crush on Mia.
on Mia, but
But
Mia is also like significantly older
and that's the thing.
if I'm not
And
remembering.
it's normal for like a little sibling to have a crush on like the older sibling's friend.
Yeah,
But then I was wondering, I'm like, I was wondering if there was something
the
somewhat
other way.
predatory that was like tampered down from Mia's side. I think the closest we get to that is still under like possession, where it's that night where she and um, Mia and Riley like sleep together in the same bed after the first possession, and like you see Mia's hand, like
That's not Mia.
the is it just the spirit?
It's a creepy hand.
Yeah, but then
You see Mia take the phone away.
yeah,
You see Mia take off the ear pods,
right,
and then she does, like scratch his head.
yes.
And I took that more as like a comforting thing because she knows that she's the one to scare the shit out of him.
But then there's another hand. Then the hand comes back that looks
But
like it's gonna
then
do more than
but then it's a weird, like huge bloated hand.
yeah. But then the way that like some of these sequences work, to the director's credit, is like later when we get to like the toe sucking scene, right?
It's
She sees
ambiguous.
yes.
Yeah.
So after that, that's kind of where like any sort of inkling at something more than just innocent relationship ends, right? Because then Riley has the shit that happens to him like happen to him.
Hmm.
But yeah, I was curious if you got any sort of vibes from that at all at the beginning.
Not as
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Like I said, like I also, it seems to me like she's more infatuated with what's his name, Daniel.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that to me, I was like, I don't think she would be into Daniel and then also into this kid.
Well,
So I don't know.
I think if there's a case to be made with that, it's just like residuals from like her trauma and like troubles.
Maybe.
But anyway, but yeah. So first possession.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
first possession. So that was the first possession.
yeah,
Then we have this whole scene where they're trying to convince Haley to come over to the party
yeah,
and bring the hand because now Daniel wants to give it a try.
yeah.
Which, by the way, that's a thing that I want to point out later. They blame Mia, but this is Daniel's fault
For wanting to try.
for wanting to try it and having them come to the house.
It was also interesting because we get told multiple times that like Daniel is a good Christian boy, like blah blah blah. And it was I don't know if I would count this as like a fault of the movie or not,
I have thoughts. I think I know exactly where you're going
but
with
I was
this.
like, damn, at no point did this like good Christian boy who like doesn't want to bang. And even one of the ghosts like,
Because I think
yeah,
he's gay.
ah, he could be. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's gay, and I don't know if it's just the dynamic between the directors of how, like, how playful they are with each other,
Yeah,
but they do come across me like, if someone tell me, if and I haven't looked at it, so I don't know. If you told me that they might be gay, not
yeah,
not for each other,
right.
obviously, but if you told me they were gay, I'd be like, oh, I could see that.
Tracks. Yeah,
It would track. I think that might be them putting that into this character,
interesting.
where he doesn't want to bang, and he's using that "I'm religious"
Yeah.
as an excuse
Because he has
to
no
not.
reservation, like, and like it's his girlfriend who has the most reservations about,
Hmm.
like,
Because
but
there's
yeah,
that part where the ghost like possesses him, like he's
yeah,
he's possessed, and the ghost looks at Jade,
and she's like, he
and
hates it
he's
when you
like
touch him.
he's
Yeah,
like, ooh, like he fucking hates it when you, like,
yeah,
you make him soft.
yeah, yeah,
So like, that to me, paired with the fact that he's so willing to try this very anti-Christian
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
that to me tracks.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense to
We
you.
found the mystery. It was gay all along. Yeah,
I'm curious as to what Danny and and Michael, um, kind of, if that is a thing, if they are gay and this is their way to like insert that into the movie, because writers do that
Yeah, for sure.
all the time.
Not related to sexuality, but I was reading on them on Wikipedia yesterday, and they do like making films in Australia, and they prefer making films in Australia rather than in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so uh, like once again, that doesn't really tell us anything about like sexuality or anything related to that, but it is kind of cool to see like they are at this point where they are very happy to be like in their lane doing what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah. Um, I'm curious now. I'm very curious here. Anyway,
yeah,
back to the whole shebang here.
yeah,
So when that happens, like I honestly didn't even realize that Danny came back into the party. I thought he left,
yeah,
but that he's there
yeah. I thought
like
he
a
left
few
too.
a few
Yeah,
scenes later. But not everybody's taking turns. The only one who does not take a turn is Jade.
yeah,
And I think that then brings circle that allegory of like in a lot of groups where there's like people who use drugs, there is the one friend who is just like not about this.
which is kind of interesting because at the beginning of the movie, she does kind of play off as this like somewhat shitty friend because like Mia comes over, she's like, "Let's talk," and she's like, "I'm on my phone."
Hmm.
She's like, and then she's like, "No, like let's hang out." She's like, "Go over there." Like I gotta talk to Danny.
So here's here's
Yeah.
the, here's the reason why I think Mia does live with them,
Mm,
even if temporarily, because there's a scene where they're talking about the party,
yeah.
and Sue is walking around trying to get them to fess up that the
Yeah.
party's happening, and she goes, Mia,
You're banned from
like
here.
you're like I will kick you out effective now.
Not kick you out. It's you are banned from here.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
I think she's just like the friend who's perpetually over.
Okay.
Which sometimes
She's the Kimmy Gibbler.
yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never and of all the tie-ins to other media I thought we would make with this movie, Full House was not.
Well, it's here now. Um, and we do see everybody taking turns with this possessed hands.
Yeah.
There's different like I like the way they show that the spirits possessing them are not the same thing all the
Yeah.
time. They're all very different.
Yes.
The way they use the people's bodies, like the way they talk to the rest of the group.
Yeah.
Because I love Haley's comment when Danny's getting possessed, where she's like, "Man, this spirit's kind of a cunt." I fucking laughed so
Yeah.
hard. But then we go to Riley because they're getting ready to pack up, and
Mhm.
Riley's like, "I want to try it. Like, can I just try it for like 60 seconds instead of 90 seconds?
Yeah.
Come in." And Jade is not about it,
No.
like at all.
Yeah.
But eventually, like, he does convince Mia
Yes.
and this is that again that drug allegory of like someone goes like, "Come on, let me just try a little bit." You're like,
Yeah.
"No, it's not good for you." Like you recognize,
Yeah.
like I don't think there's anyone who will like 100% legitimately think drugs are fine, but you're so hooked that even you might recognize you may not want to get other people in. Libertarians.
Yes. But they're
Um,
not people.
So you're saying that you want
I
people.
used to not be a person. That's true. I used to not be a person.
Good old Fana.
Yeah. Now I'm back. Baby.
Back baby doll.
Yeah.
But then you can tell right away that something is wrong.
Right.
Because Riley says, "Talk to me," and then he goes, "Oh shit," and he's like, he looks right at Mia,
Yeah.
and that's when I don't know, like you caught it right away, but I was like, it's Mia's mom.
Yes.
So like to me, I was like, he's seeing Mia's mom, whether or not it's her.
Yeah.
And then when he's told to let it in, like then he starts talking
Right.
to Mia again, saying like, "I miss you, like I didn't want to leave you, blah blah blah." And I don't know to what extent
Mia's
this
mom
is
lingers.
ever Mia's mom,
Yes. Yes. That's a great question.
because there is a turn, I feel,
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is potentially Mia's mom talking, and then when there's that switch, it's something else that goes, "Oh, I can use this."
Right. Because anytime we see Mia's mom, we can definitely know that that spirit is up to nefarious business.
Yes,
Right.
Mia is obviously too grief
To
stricken
to tell.
to
Yeah.
put two and two together. Obviously, her relationship with her dad is strained,
Right.
so this spirit's able to use that
Yeah.
against it. But uh, after like he starts talking to Mia, then the spirit gets super fucking violent.
Yeah.
And this is the first instance of violence that we get in the movie. We
Yes.
get a little bit with the kangaroo, which was sad to see this like
Yeah.
kangaroo, but apparently Australians fucking hate kangaroos. It's one of the
Because
things
they're
that
kind
I've
of
heard.
assholes, from what I hear.
I hear that they're very much like deer.
I think they will fuck up your dog. I
Probably.
think. Yeah.
I know there's videos of people like fighting kangaroos because they're attacking their dog.
Right.
Um, but the thing is, unlike deer, kangaroos are fucking strong and they're
Yep.
jacked.
Yep.
Um, but just like how someone can be very jacked and do a lot of damage, this ghost
This ghost,
fucks up Riley.
which makes me think, I would not be if you made me pick right now, like, is this ghost that was possessing Riley in this scene ever Mia's mom? I think I would lean towards no. I mean, the movie does a good job of like obscuring like a lot of the logistics to like keep you in suspense and mystery and to make it interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because of how violent that reaction is, I feel like it could either be the same spirit that we know because Mia went over the 90 seconds is like lingering in Mia, or like some other spirit, or maybe they're all just the same spirit, who fucking knows. But like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that spirit was Mia's mom. I think it is a truly like nefarious spirit who senses there's a connection between,
Yeah,
yeah, between the two.
and that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, whether or not that spirit that Riley sees initially is Mia's mom,
Yeah.
I don't think it really adds or takes away enough
Yeah.
because like I said, even if it is like there is a visual switch
Yeah.
after like the 90 seconds are up, and then like Riley starts to like act differently right away, and that's when he starts slamming his fucking face
Yeah.
on the table.
Yeah.
Fucking brutal. And then he starts like digging into his eyeball.
Yeah. That scene's
Oh,
hard. That scene's hard to watch.
yeah, I saw you. You were
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Donald is very squeamish. I am.
I'm squeamish with anything that like pierces or like, yeah, yeah, piercing, gouging things.
And it
Yeah.
is because like you see the fingers go into the lid,
Yeah.
and it is gross. You see the eye like popping a bit.
Yeah.
But then like the fucking chair just goes up and like slams against the window. I was like, this thing is gonna kill this kid by having it slam into the window.
I thought he was about to die right then and there.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
He probably would have if it wasn't because Jade is able to run and put her hand and block the
Off
corner
the
of the
corner,
table.
which is where she gets hurt.
Yeah, her hand gets broken because this kid just like slammed his head.
Which is where actually for me I walked out of the theater thinking, making more hereditary comparisons than you were, but like I don't know what it was, but there was something about Riley in the beginning that was like, there's something creepy, innocent, and stupid enough about this kid where I'm marking him for death, like I marked like Charlie
Mm-hmm.
died in Hereditary. Like he doesn't actually die, but like, at that point,
He's our catalyst of something going wrong,
yeah,
right?
at that point, I was like, "Oh, this kid's a fucking goner." Like I did not think he was gonna survive that scene whatsoever.
I think he was dead.
Yeah,
And I was like, how the fuck are they going to explain this?
yeah,
Like at all?
yeah,
Which, by the way, like you have the hand here. Be like, officer, please hold his hand and
yeah,
say, talk to me. I swear to God.
yeah,
And right,
yeah.
whether or not
Whether or not you want to do that,
you want to do
right?
that, I guess. But I mean, you have a true and tested thing right here.
Yep.
So anyway, not the point. Um, once we have this is where like the movie fully switches from like a potentially fun, haha, look at the ghosty goose, to
Hmm.
like now she is actively being
Tormented.
haunted.
Yeah.
Before this, she doesn't see anything.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because now that Riley has spent, I think they said 2 minutes connected to the hand, as opposed to like her like
90 seconds. Yeah.
96 seconds
Yeah.
or whatever, right? If it then is able to kind of jump between the two of them,
Yeah.
or if it's something entirely different. And so now she's seeing her mom. She's playing with the hand,
Right.
and her mom is already like sowing these like seeds of distrust
Yeah.
for other things.
Yeah.
She says Riley is in trouble.
She's confirming that she didn't kill herself.
She's
Yeah.
saying, well,
Yeah. Right.
confirming,
For Mia.
yeah,
Yeah. She's
because
like,
Mia is under like deep denial that mom would have killed herself, and I get it.
this was kind of darkly funny for me, where when we first find out like when she died and how she died, and she's like, oh, she took bunch of sleeping pills, like she fell by the door, my dad couldn't get in, and then I forget if Riley asks if it was on purpose, and then I forget what her justification was for no, but I was like,
Her justification for no is that she had crawled and tried to like
yeah,
dig at the thing so that she had blood under her
right,
fingernails.
but I was still like, oh, honey.
I mean,
I,
it's gotta be so hard.
it's got to be very hard. That's where like it only flirts with humor for me, like very dark humor. But I
It's
was like,
yeah, it's the
yeah,
like the humor comes from the like naivete
yeah,
of her
which is
wanting
natural
to pursue.
naivete you would have, right?
Absolutely.
Especially if no one's willing to be brave enough to confirm it for you.
Yeah.
And
And then also there is a line someone says, I can't remember who it is,
yeah,
but someone says like, well, these things when they possess us, like they have access to us just as much as we have access to
yep,
them.
yep, yep, yep.
So they're able to pull on your memories,
Yeah,
right? So then that tells me obviously whatever this is knows that
knows.
she has this insecurity about her mom's
Yeah,
suicide, right?
yeah,
So it's able to go, oh, she does not believe mom
yeah.
offed herself. Let's
Let's
pick
poke
at
at
that,
that.
right? And it's ingenious in how she is just so manipulated
Yeah,
by this. Um Her dad shows her the suicide note,
yeah.
which
Which honestly, to be fair, was that was the only point where I was 100% of like, oh yes, mom killed herself. Like I was maybe like 90% there throughout the whole movie, but it wasn't until like he pulled out the note and was like, no, like here it fucking is. I'm like, okay, yeah,
I assumed from the beginning that mom did kill herself,
yeah,
because just because she tried to crawl out does not mean that it was an accident. A lot
for
of the
sure.
times when people try,
Yeah, people,
you
yeah,
fucking go, oh no, this is real, and
yeah,
then you start to freak out, right?
backtrack.
Um, but then the like her listening to that suicide note, man, it
Yeah,
is sad shit.
sad shit. It hits all the, this is the first time I felt hope in a while,
Which you're
right?
like, yeah,
Yeah, that's the sign,
that's the
right?
sign.
Yeah,
Oh, mom seemed happy for the last 2 days,
yeah,
and then yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. It
yeah.
tracks. Which good for them, for like the writers,
Keeping it,
for
keeping it real.
keeping it real,
Yeah,
because like I don't think a lot of times like when you hear about suicide in movies, it's
yeah, yeah.
this well like thought out.
Smile, a movie we liked, I don't think did it as well as
No,
this.
well, because in Smile it wasn't suicide.
I don't even
In
remember what it
Smile it
was.
was an OD.
Okay, I know they're not the same, but like
Yeah, they
they
go
go
hand in
hand in
hand.
hand. Yeah,
Um, but so then they're trying to figure out how. So she says that Mia needs to help Riley. They're trying to figure out what they can do.
yeah,
Um, they decide that maybe if they go and give Riley the hand, they can they can give consent for him. Which I'm
yeah,
like, I don't think that's how that works.
yeah,
I mean, they could have tested it with somebody else.
yeah.
I think that would have been the smart thing to be like, hey, here, you hold the hand.
Right.
I say, talk to him, and if you see ghosts, then it works,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I feel like that's something that could have been tried and tested.
right.
But then she talks to. I do like the scene or the idea that not only can the ghost possess you, but you can possess the ghost.
Yeah, with the little girl.
I thought
That was a well done scene too.
that was a cool like
When
twist that I was not.
when the movie became fucking Suspiria. There was another in the Reddit thread. There was another movie that people were saying that
Was it
that's the
Society?
maybe.
There's a movie called Society. I think it's Society or High Society, where there's a bunch of like weird monster tentacly thingies having like orgies,
Yeah,
wild shit. Um, but anyway, so that's when, and again, you don't know if this is a different ghost
right.
or if this is the same one that's been fucking with Riley or with Mia.
Society. Yep. That's
Ah,
the, yeah. That's
yep,
what, yep.
I know my movies.
Yeah.
But that's the one I thought of. And then you said Suspiria, and I was like, "There's no way Thana will know what the fuck Society is, so I'm not even gonna
No.
say it."
Yeah.
Um, but she's then
Oh,
shown
and
that
Event Horizon, which I've never seen.
Event Horizon.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Made by the guy who directed the Resident Evil movies.
There you go.
Very good.
Yeah.
So she's shown a vision of Riley being tortured by like these spirits. They're like humping him and like hugging him, and
Yeah.
he's screaming. And again, you don't know to what extent this is what's actually happening,
Yeah.
and what is potentially something going on.
Yes.
Is it implied? So Mia goes home, talks to mom, or mom talks to her,
Mm-hmm.
tells her like, you can't trust your dad. Your dad is one of them. They are trying to like hurt you.
And these, I mean, these demons are very good at like creating illusions.
Yes.
Like I knew, like dad was downstairs, and like the movie does, like a couple beats into that scene, the movie does show you that dad is downstairs.
Yeah, he's still looking at the note. He's like he hears Mia making a commotion. He like looks and he's calling for her.
Yeah.
But then you're seeing like the door shaking.
There are some times when movies will do those like the demon is making you see something things where there enough like physical clues in the scene where you're like, like this is not a real person, like this is an illusion that's interacting with the environment. But like in this scene, like
You don't know.
yeah, her like the perception of the room that she's seeing and that we see as the audience could only be affected by something like physical,
Mm-hmm.
short of like this entire like thing being planted in her head. It's not like, oh, the demon's like pushing a coat rack that's falling on
Mm-hmm.
the door. Like no, like the door is
The door is visibly
Yeah.
violently shaking.
She is being like assaulted.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And you do see when the dad does manage to bust in through the door, she is like somebody is like, it looks like somebody is on top of her.
Yeah.
Even though there's nothing there.
Yeah.
But when he does go to approach her to like help her up, she
Yeah.
stabs him in the neck.
Yeah.
I think that does not die.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess he stays the whole night, like keeping the.
No, it's only a couple minutes.
Is that how?
Because
short it is?
Mia calls Jade, says, I need you to what's
Need
it
you to come
called?
here.
Need you to come here. I need help. And she says, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So in those 10 minutes, I'm assuming she lives close enough to the hospital
Right.
that
She got
there.
Yeah.
We do see Dad holding his neck. He is
Yeah.
still up.
Yeah.
And then we see that, what's her name? Jade is back at the hospital soon after,
Right.
looking for Mia. I would assume that then she calls 911. They get there.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back to this in a second. But Mia is under the impression that in order to save Riley, she needs to
Kill him.
just like she was unable to kill the kangaroo.
Yep.
Now she needs to kill Riley because
Riley
he
out
is
of his misery.
suffering.
Yep.
By the way, we totally skipped this. That scene where they're showering, where they're bathing Riley at the hospital, which, by the way, why the fuck is mom and sister giving this kid a shower? That is a nurse's job.
Yeah.
But he's like staring at the ceiling, and then he just like bites her, and then it's like slamming his head on the wall,
and then like licking his own blood.
Dude, that again, like that kid
Yeah.
doing those things, like he sells that shit so good.
Yeah.
But Mia she can't stab him. She is not able to.
Right.
And I think she's able to maybe like subconsciously go, well, maybe a way to put him out of his misery would be to just throw him in front of a bus.
Yeah.
Um, and I've seen people have questions about this ending.
Yeah.
People are asking, did Mia throw herself or did Jade
Oh, throw her.
throw her?
Okay.
A lot of people are under the impression that Jade,
No.
and I'm like, that's wrong. Mia jumps.
Yeah, Mia jumps.
Um, and I think I commented on the YouTube video, and I think I got the person to actually like respond.
The creator of the video?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
she not respond, but
Reply to your
like
comment.
not reply, but like acknowledge what I said, because they were like, well, you don't really get a chance to see if she really comes to it, and I think it's because the ghost fucks up.
Mm.
Because there is that line where the ghost says like, well, you will now free him and he will be with us forever,
Yeah.
and that's not what what she intends to do.
Right.
She wants to free him. She doesn't want him to be with them forever.
Yeah.
And so that's her probably realizing, oh shit, the ghosts want Riley, because they said that if you die while
Yeah.
you're possessed,
We have you.
then they have you.
Yeah.
And I think it's Cole, who's the brother at the beginning who gets stabbed in the chest,
Yeah.
in the shoulder. He says like the longer they're in, like the less grip they have.
Yeah.
So I think Riley's kind of starting to
realize.
starting to kind of come to, and then the ghost says, "Well, we need to kill him because we can't postpone this any longer."
Yeah.
And that little slip is what makes Mia realize this is not my mom.
Right.
The only way for me to end this is as fast as possible is for me to jump.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I think if she is able to make that decision to jump, then that's like a kind of heroic moment for
It's
her.
more impactful, I think.
Yeah.
I think if she gets pushed, it's more deflating.
Right.
It's already a bummer ending because your main protagonist dies,
and it is kind of a bummer movie like throughout.
It is,
and I don't mean that as I don't mean that as a pure criticism. And mostly not a criticism. There were some points where I was like, like this is like, even though I love Hereditary and Hereditary is full on sad, there's some ways where I like the handling of sadness better in that movie than this movie. But I will say, of all the possible interpretations for the end, I'm definitely team anti. Mia is pushed by her friend.
Right? Yeah, I don't buy that for a minute.
I think it was either her own volition or it was maybe the ghosts wanted both. I mean, they're demons, like they just want suffering, right? Like, so it's not you can't like fully reason with them, but like maybe part of them getting Mia was like using Riley as a pawn to make her die.
Maybe, potentially, I don't know.
Yeah.
But so then we see that she I love the split second where I was like, oh, she got away with this pretty okay.
I knew she did.
But then I was like, no, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. That's where they definitely, whereas before I talked about the framing of the dad is like ambiguous enough where he's interacting with the environment so much that you're like, holy shit, is this a hallucination or not? The framing of the onlookers, like looking at what happened, like is definitely unambiguous, where I'm like, oh yeah, like they're
so for me it was when she stood up, and I was like, oh, okay, no, she's dead. I saw when she's like down and I see her like open her eyes, and I was like, oh, is she like alive? Right. But then she gets up, I'm like, no fucking way. But this is why I think so. Dad survives because he's walking around the hospital at the end.
It's interesting that it lingers on. There's this old man that you see earlier. That we at least see his room again.
Yes.
It could be him, it could not be him, but it's another old man, but from the back.
So to me, it implies that she's in this like purgatory state, and that like, a lot of time it's clearly passing. Yeah. Because we do see Riley and his family. He's getting better. Yeah. Max is leaving the hospital after having been stabbed in the neck. So that, so he's fine. He's alive. And then,
well, he's not fine.
Well, he's down 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And that's got to do something to you.
Yeah.
And then we see like the rooms are getting darker,
Yeah.
and we see that's when we hear the flick of the match,
Yep.
and we see the light, and then we see the hand
Which I love actually how it shows you what a ghost would kind of experience
in this,
in
and yeah,
this.
from the
Yeah.
opposite side, right?
Yeah.
And how they see a hand reaching out.
And they are literally like going to the light. Like,
Yes,
yeah. Yeah.
which is kind of cool. It's a cool visual.
And now it makes me wonder all those ghosties that they were talking to, how many of them were like ghosties that just died and are kind of in this similar purgatory-ish state.
Hmm.
And like, will Mia's ghost also be a huge cunt?
Or because I don't know, like
Yeah,
I know they said that they do have ideas for what they could do if they want to continue
this.
exploring this,
Yeah,
because there is another hand somewhere.
yeah.
I could not catch this because I honestly was not paying attention at the time. If I see this again, which I might tomorrow,
Mm.
I don't know. I forgot my or I left my headphones at the AMC. I think I told you,
Yeah, yeah,
and so I need to make a drive out there tomorrow anyway. So
yeah. See, do it for this movie.
I might be like, whatever. I'll pay whatever $10 or
Yeah,
whatever. But I don't know if it was the original hand or if it's the other hand.
because do you see it? Or
You see the hand that they shake.
yeah.
So Mia reaches out to shake a hand,
Mm.
but I can't remember if she is shaking a right hand or a left hand,
Mm.
because the hand that they have in the movie is a left hand.
Yeah.
Because I remember I made the joke. I was like, "How yeah, who the fuck shake with left hand?" Uh, and I cannot
You
tell
can't
if
tell
this
what
is
it
the
is.
same hand has just been passed around so long that it's made its way from Australia to
Yeah.
Greece, or if it's still in Australia and it's just with a bunch of fucking Greek people
There
who
are,
still talk
as the expert analysis of this episode has told us,
the Greekest
there's a
fucking
lot of fucking Greek people
a
in
lot of fucking
Australia.
Greek in
Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
And could Mia potentially be like in some of the movies that you bring in like a character from a past movie in a way to like help,
Yeah.
like the expert, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a lot of angles
It's a lot of
you can
angles.
take.
Well, I will say I don't like I said I don't think this is like at the same level, at least for me, as Hereditary. I do think this is a damn good movie.
It is very good.
A very good movie.
Yeah.
I love I love the possession visual in this movie.
Yeah.
Like the way their eyes like get dark but not fully dark, so there's like little slivers of white.
Yeah.
I think that's more effective than full black.
Yes.
And also like their mouths darken too. Their mouths and like around their eyes.
So we were talking about the movie Nefarious,
Yeah.
which I have not seen. But I saw that trailer, and for those of our millions of fans who don't know, it's by some like sucking Christian studio. And I saw like
Not Angel Studios.
not Angel Studios, but a different one. And I saw that trailer, and I'm like, all right, like for what this is, like this actor who's playing this possessed serial killer, like is doing a good job. But there is something like in a Hallmark possession movie, not Hallmark the brand, but like when you know you're watching a possession movie, there is something missing in the makeup and like in just the visual effects from like this man looking possessed, where you have a new Exorcist movie coming up where you're looking at those girls and you're like, ah, yeah, like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's the fucking Exorcist. This is it's a very nice middle ground
Yeah.
where there's enough to distort, but also like by and large, a lot of normalcy left in the human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I am very much looking forward to whatever they're doing next. I know the next movie they're making is Street Fighter,
Yeah, I saw that.
which makes sense. Absolutely makes so much sense to me
Yeah.
because their YouTube channel is like very action heavy.
Yeah.
A lot of martial arts type of stuff. And you know, if they can channel that energy with a budget
Yeah,
and make finally a good
a good
Street
fighting
Fighter
game movie.
movie.
Yeah.
I think we might have a solid contender for whenever that comes out next.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Any final thoughts that you have? Anything we may have missed?
No, I hit everything that I wanted to talk about. It was a lovely time.
It's a great time.
It was a lovely time.
Oh, I will say, considering some of their other stuff that they made, I liked that they were restrained enough in their use of like over the top violence to just that one very effective scene.
Hmm.
Because a lot of their stuff that they do in their YouTube videos are like hyper violent. Like obviously, like you would never mistake what's happening in those videos as like real.
Right.
But I mean, they have a lot of those sensitivities to like make those types of videos,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that they were able to not do that.
Yeah.
Because I think that would have diminished the impact of the Riley scene.
This was a very well balanced movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We will be back very soon. I
Yes.
believe the next movie is going to be the Meg
The Meg that we're seeing.
that we're seeing. Thano is seeing
I'm seeing Barbie on Friday.
Barbie on
I'm
Friday.
very upset it's taken me this long to be able to see Barbie.
What a damn shame.
What a damn shame. Sorry.
I
Sorry,
don't
ladies.
even remember half of what happened in that movie now. I have to catch up.
Dang.
I gotta catch up.
It's been a busy year.
Busy year. But we will be doing a Barbenheimer review.
Yes.
So I just think we could have done Oppenheimer,
May as well. We could have done Oppenheimer.
but I think given the cultural impact that Barbenheimer has had on the American
Yeah.
psyche,
I'm actually really excited to juxtapose them. I haven't seen any. I've actually kept away from Barbie spoilers, so I haven't seen too many.
there's not a lot to spoil.
I really haven't seen too many reviews, but
I think the most spoiler thing that you've seen, that I know you've seen,
I know
is
there's
the Dojo Mojo Casa House.
there's a speech. I know someone gives a speech somewhere,
I have thoughts about that speech.
and I've heard that there's like a plot twist early on that's like kind of unexpected.
Plot twist? I don't know about plot twist, but
To me, what I heard is that it set it apart from like the Lego movie. Whereas this could have just been the Lego movie. But well, I'll see. I haven't seen the movie yet, so
I mean, I would say Barbie movie is not geared towards kids,
yeah,
whereas Lego movie is absolutely
Geared
like
towards kids.
geared towards kids. This is more of a maybe
This is
like
for millennials.
teens, millennials, and adults. Yeah. But anyway, we'll be back with that very soon. Thank you guys for listening. Again, check out Talk to Me.
Yep.
It's great. It just came out. It's stolen all the attention away from Cobweb, which is another pretty good movie.
Yeah.
But that one we probably won't talk until Halloween if we were able to get you to watch it.
Yeah, I'd like to watch it.
So,
And The Haunted Mansion.
and you gotta watch fucking Lake Mungo.
I don't even.
We are gonna trick you into watching Lake Mungo someday.
Why do I need to be tricked into watching Lake Mungo?
Because I've been trying for the past year and it's never happened.
Have you really?
Yeah.
I'll watch Lake Mungo.
All right, everybody.
All right.
We will be back soon. Until then, remember to please like, subscribe, and share with your friends.
So we can get them checks.
We can get them checks. $0, 0 cents. We made the same joke an hour ago, and it's just as
I don't know
funny.
why it's so funny to refer to it as that.
Get that check.
Them check. That check. Them.
All right. Well, until then, he's been Thanos.
He has been Javier.
This has been the Cine-Scoots podcast. Bye.